How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to my reaction videos. I cannot wait! I've been looking forward to Loki so much. And there was this whole downtime of depression between Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki, but we are here now. Let's jump into Loki because, as a big Scarlet Witch fan, I know that this show has to play into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, since we know they both deal with the timelines. So let's jump in, let's see what they're gonna do! Aw. Does anyone else miss Endgame? Because I know I do. I mean, watching it like over 100 times, still not enough. Here we go. But like, where was he trying to go? Not that there's anything wrong with the Gobi Desert.
And I am burdened with glorious purpose.
I hereby arrest you for crimes against the sacred timeline. Hands up.
Get out of my way.
Oh, that's so cool.
Feeling all that pain in real time.
Fine Asgardian leather.
Okay, Tom Hiddleston.
Please sign to verify this is everything you've ever said.
What?
Okay, surely for someone who is like Loki and has lived as long as he has, I think there should be like 10 more of those stacks. Just say, just say.
You stand trial for your crimes. So let's not waste it. Ago, there was a vast multiversal war, nearly resulting in the total destruction of, well, everything. Reorganizing the multiverse into a single timeline. The sacred timeline. The timekeepers protect and preserve the proper flow of time. Stepping off your path created a nexus event, which left unchecked. Timekeepers created the TVA and all its incredible workers.
Okay, so that part right there was just... I love how they did it through a cartoon, and Miss Minutes is sassy. Okay, so that already has like my brain training because of course, you know, in that video they're giving a lot of like backstory to what we haven't really known in terms of the MCU. So I'm gonna hold that thought, but like stay tuned to the end of the video where I'm gonna kind of give a theory of what I think has happened, how that has kind of like played out in the films that we've seen, and how I see this going forward with the next films in the MCU.
It appears that when they arrived, somebody got the jump on them.
You think?
Hey, wait, stand down. Stand down.
Just a kid. Tu sais qui a fait ça?
Mephisto. I mean, you never know.
Sir, there's something you'll want to see.
Next case, please.
We're not here to talk about the Avengers.
Oh, no?
No. What they did was supposed to happen. The timekeepers
Oh, the timekeepers. Right.
dictate the proper flow of time according to their dictations. How do you plead?
All this.
He's trying to use his powers, ma'am.
Don't rush me.
Awkward.
Damn it! Why would it work?
Wow.
Where is it?
Oh, that looks so sick.
Brother, Heimdall, you better be ready.
Okay, so that part has me excited, but at the same time, kind of like a bit lame. Solely because I know what they did there, because in the trailer, and you saw it, you know, he mentions Thor, he mentions Heimdall, so you're thinking, oh, you know, not necessarily did I think they're going to be in the show, but I thought there'd be some, I don't know, some way more incorporated versus just like name dropping, which is what I felt that just was. It was name dropping. But I do think it's cool that they made him DB Cooper. And for all those people who don't know, so essentially some guy stole money, hijacked a plane, jumped out of the plane, and they never found him. They didn't find like any evidence of where he landed. They just found like little bits of money. But it remains one of the like unsolved mysteries of the world. So, I mean, that was Marvel kind of playing with kind of like real life events. So I like that. At the same time, you know, would have rather seen Thor and Heimdall.
Always so perceptive about everyone but yourself.
And again, because it's supposed to, because it has to. The TVA...
Always after the Tesseract.
Infinity Stones?
We actually got a lot of those. Yeah, some of the guys use them as paperweights.
Did he take the time stone? Now that's the thing I want to know. Does he have it in his pocket? He's slick that way.
Is this the greatest power in the universe?
Okay, that's pretty awesome. They literally have piles of Infinity Stones, and they're literally worthless in the TVA. I'm guessing that the TVA is outside of reality, so I guess they really have no purpose or no power, you know, which is why they don't work. But, I mean, he knows already that his mom has died. In Thor Ragnarok, he walked by the Tesseract. You don't see him take it, but then you knew he took it. I think he has a time stone. Watch it, wait, and you will see he took it, because he's gonna fuck up time.
I love you, my sons. Remember.
Okay, I thought the world of you. I thought when I'm gonna... If you're here, I'm not even give you a hug. I'm here.
Okay, so this was one of the things when I heard that they were going to do a Loki series. I had mixed feelings about it. I mean, obviously I was very excited about it because I love Marvel, I love the MCU, so of course I would want to see more. But I was excited with the idea that maybe they would take Loki down the more villainous path, because we already saw Loki go from villain to hero. Like, he already did that, and then, you know, he died trying to save Thor from Thanos. So then when they were going to do the series, I was like, okay, maybe they can actually make him more of a villain, you know, just so it's different. Because, of course, in my mind, the Loki that escaped would be different, because he would not have gone through everything that the Loki that we know from the MCU went through. He didn't go through all that stuff. So none of that happened, so therefore he didn't really take it upon himself to become good, to become a hero. So, but now what the show has done, which makes it okay, if he's not going to go down this complete villainous path, I like what they did, because they essentially, like, in a very time-efficient way, caught him up to where he was in the MCU. So I'm happy about it, because from a story perspective, it at least makes sense in my mind why maybe this Loki will now also become a hero. But I would have much rather him kind of just, let's go evil, just be evil. We already saw Loki become a hero. Let's go big bad. I also thought that what they did there was very clever, because in Endgame, when he's, you know, Thanos is basically choking the life out of him, he's like, you know, you will never be a god. He's saying that to Thanos, but the way they kind of like intercut it here in Loki, it's like he's saying it to himself. So I was like, very well done. Well done.
I don't enjoy hurting people, because it's part of the illusion.
You do know yourself.
A villain.
I can't offer you salvation, but maybe I can offer you something better. Fugitive variant's been killing our Minutemen. The variant we're hunting is you.
Yes! I'm getting exactly what I wanted. I'm gonna get a hero Loki and then a villain Loki. Yeah! I called it. They really just need to hire me.
Think some jackass found himself a time machine, came back here to get rich.
Someone's out there.
Okay, with just that first episode, I would have to say that Loki is probably my second favorite. So it goes WandaVision, Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It was just entire concept of the TVA and just the fact that they're dealing with like the flow of time was just very clever, especially because just the way Endgame finished, because there was this whole drama with Captain America going back in time. Is he in the main reality? Was it a branch reality? So there was all these questions, and even the people that worked on the film were giving contrasting answers. So it's good to see that Marvel was like, well, we're going to answer it and we're going to make a show about it. I mean, let's just be honest. Tom Hiddleston is freaking amazing. You can see why people love him as Loki and why the character is just so good, and he just hits all those beats, hits all those levels. This show's gonna be so good. How many episodes is it? Straight up from the beginning, I loved all the callbacks to the original films, with Loki kind of getting like a history of himself, with kind of like seeing into the future. So it's essentially kind of like a quick way to get Loki to kind of how he was at the end of Endgame, even though this is the Loki from the end of the Avengers. So going back to the Miss Minutes cartoon, when it's talking about all the different multiverses, how they were all like fighting against each other until the Timekeepers came in and put it all into one timeline, the sacred timeline. Now, the video mentioned that there was a great war that happened. What I'm thinking is just looking back to what we've seen in the films and what's coming down the pipeline. What if the Celestials were part of this great war that happened? Because in Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, nowhere is this big skull of a dead Celestial. And we know the Celestials are coming in the Eternals. So I'm thinking, what if the war was between the Celestials and some other superpower before the Timekeepers came and kind of put it into the sacred timeline? I thought it was also very interesting that in the cartoon, when they were talking about, like, you know, when a variant kind of jumps out of their main timeline and, you know, causes a multiverse split, they called that a Nexus event. Are you wondering why you've heard the word Nexus? Well, that's because it was in WandaVision. They didn't officially call her, but essentially it was kind of hinted that Wanda is a Nexus being. Now, a Nexus being essentially can warp reality to how they like it, but you know, how I'm kind of understanding it right now is when Loki split off from the timeline, when he took the Tesseract, that caused a split in the timeline, which was essentially dangerous and would kind of, you know, cause a collapse of all realities. But Scarlet Witch kind of doing stuff like that, where kind of like altering timelines and whatnot, since she's like a Nexus being and has this quote-unquote Nexus ability, she's kind of like, more or less kind of like an anchor point that kind of makes that separate timeline go kind of parallel with the same timeline, and doesn't necessarily diverge, but can kind of anchor it so I guess everything doesn't collapse. That's kind of what I'm thinking is happening when it's kind of like a Nexus event, calling her a Nexus being. So essentially she can rewrite it without, you know, causing massive chaos. Maybe just a little, but not like massive chaos. I think the twist that's going to happen right now with the main villain Loki, the other variant that's off stealing the little time bombs, like that's going to come into play. I actually think that that's going to be Lady Loki. Who's Lady Loki? Okay, so in the comic books, essentially Ragnarok, like in the film Thor Ragnarok, happened and all the Asgardians died, but they were reborn on Earth. Loki, though, is reborn in a female's body, hence Lady Loki. So I think the series is kind of taking a play on that with a different variant of Loki being a female, and I think she is the main, probably, villain of the show, where she's off stealing these little bombs that kind of reset the timeline, and is obviously going to do that for a nefarious purpose. But let's be real. Just the way the show's set up, one would assume that the TVA are the good guys. But, you know, how they usually start is not how it kind of works out to in the end. So just like Agatha Harkness, I think the TVA is not necessarily as good as we think. I mean, and maybe they do think they're the good guys, but like, you know, like, maybe the Timekeepers are evil. There's going to be some like reveal and like plot twist with them, I'm sure. A good thing to notice too is the lady who plays the judge, Ravonna. In the comics, she is actually a love interest for Kang the Conqueror. Kang the Conqueror is slated to be a villain in the new Ant-Man film, Quantumania. And there has been rumbles that he might be the big bad of the next phase of the MCU, kind of like the new Thanos. I mean, we shall see. Essentially, Kang the Conqueror comes from the future, and the comic book history always has to do with like timelines and whatnot, which is very much what Phase 4 seems to be setting up for. We'll see. Maybe he's just going to be like a one-off big bad, and Ant-Man, maybe he's going to be a bigger big bad. We're going to have to wait to see. I do think, and I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna make a guess. I think Kang the Conqueror was actually one of the timekeepers. I think he's like the main one, the middle one, because I mean, it would just make sense. Like, you know, like you think like the timekeepers are these like good guys. Maybe they are the good guys, you know, and maybe just one of them goes bad. One of them goes bad and it's just like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I want. I think that's Kang the Conqueror. So I literally think we just maybe got a little glimpse into his backstory, and then you're gonna kind of see him evil. You're gonna see him evil. All right, guys. Well, what did you guys think of Loki? Because my brain is literally on fire. I'm thinking of like so many things. I'm like, this means this means this. But I mean, I don't want to make too many guesses. I don't want to make too many speculations because, again, only the first episode. And they did so good. So good. I'm loving all these Marvel shows. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think Kang the Conqueror was one of the original timekeepers? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk at you guys later. Bye!